Live from my mother's basement. Here's Johnny. I just want to throw a quick question out there to everybody. Do you guys prefer when I do these shorter audios? I know that it doesn't really allow me to get into too much detail, but maybe it's just better at getting the point across, vaguely, and then we can have a discussion about it after the fact. I don't know. I've noticed a lot of other shorter videos doing really well, and it seems like most of mine that are shorter get more views than the ones that I actually put a lot more effort into. Don't know, just seems kind of weird to me. But I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. Um, this video, as it is titled, is going to have something to do with what I would do if I was in charge of WWE going forward in terms of utilizing younger talent and really raising some new faces up the ranks to become main event stars and to take their place. And these are guys that I think you really can't disagree with. If for whatever reason you do disagree, feel free to tell me in the comments below or make your own video response. But if I was in charge of WWE going forward, I've got a list right here of 5 people, and I know that there's others that you could use, but these are the ones that I feel that you could probably get away with and get the most out of long term for your investment. These are guys that haven't really been to the top for too long or at all, but I feel like they could really assume that position and continue to perform well, and I think that it's people that under pressure would really just excel. If given the right chance, if some of these older veterans moved the fuck out of the way and made room. And in my WWE, this is what would happen. So here are a list of 5 guys really quickly, and if you're interested and want a more in-depth thing, just ask me in the comments as to why, and I could probably do, a short little audio video thing for each guy and give you the reasoning behind it. But I'll just give you the 5 names now, and you can either agree, disagree, or kind of both. Anyway, the 5 guys. Number 1, first and foremost, I think is Miz. Now, some of you might not be a Miz fan. It's fine. Do whatever you want. However, for me, I really like the way that they had built him as a Money in the Bank winner, a U.S. champion, a tag team champion, and then winning the WWE championship. I feel like when he was on his rise, it seemed like it was a little bit forced, but it was done well enough for me as a fan that it was believable. I legitimately thought, got behind Miz, and I liked his work. He might rehearse the same style of promo a lot, but I think that he's a guy that generally wants to succeed and do well. I think he's a guy that has done a lot for the business already, not just being a politics kind of guy, but a guy that goes out and does a lot of the events, and the media shit, what am I saying, like photo ops and just all the good things that they would really want to do. And I think that he's a guy that legitimately could be a face of that company in a few years now. I know that it's hard to just kind of label who's going to be the next face of the WWE, but as of right now, that's who I would go with. I think he's a very strong candidate to do so. Number 2 on the list is Kofi Kingston. Why is he number 2? Well, it's got nothing to do with the fact that he's black. I just want to point that out. I just think that Miz has more charisma than Kofi Kingston. But if I was to name a number 2 guy, it would be Kofi Kingston. He's definitely over. Fans love him. But I think that out of Kofi, we really need to see something a little bit different. We've always had this same babyface kind of, babyface in peril gimmick and then overcoming the odds, but we've only ever seen it in the mid-card and the tag, scene. He was in, the Elimination Chamber match the other year. I think it was 2011, 2012. I don't know which one. But, he was in there. He was doing his thing. I really thought they were going to do a feud with him and Jericho, and I hope that in the future that they still do. I think that program would be wonderful for Kofi. It would elevate him a lot. And I really want to see Kofi Kingston get some WrestleMania matches under his belt and be featured in a prominent spot. He doesn't necessarily need a fucking world title right away, you can still wait on that, but move him up the card, please. Make him feel like it's a big deal and you're taking him seriously. Because I would. In my WWE, Kofi Kingston would probably be my top guy for SmackDown if they were still to continue the brand extension. If not, he would be the number 2 babyface on Raw, period. Be Miz and then Kofi. When we're talking about top baby faces and faces of the company and everything, you need to have a badass heel. Antonio Cesaro is my number 3 pick. And realistically, he'd always be up around the top because I think that him as a heel works very well. Would I work him as a heel the whole time? No, because that would get stale as fuck. But I think Antonio Cesaro has an ability to really reach out and grab the fans' attention. He's a good heat getter. He's natural at it. He doesn't have to work too hard. Get him away from that shit gimmick that he's got now, and I think he could really go places. So Cesaro, Antonio Cesaro, would be my number 3 guy. There's 2 guys left, and I'm really going to try to leave you with a shorter audio here. Joe Hennig, a.k.a. Michael McGillicuddy. Change his fucking name, give him a gimmick that doesn't revolve around his father, but also at the same time acknowledges who his father was and his legacy within the business. He is a 3rd-generation wrestler. Fucking do something with this guy. He has more talent in his left foot than some of the other people that we've seen parading around. I would put Joe Hennig up toward the top of my card. I think he could work as a tweener. I think that we don't have enough tweeners. And he and my number 5 person would be tweeners. They would never be a solid babyface or a solid heel. And I think that they would both succeed very well in doing so. I can go into more detail about Joe Hennig later. I think that if anybody has watched the Mr. Perfect, DVD that they had released not all that long ago after he had passed away, that you can see the passion in his own son there, and it's really something that was touching and special to me. I've always rooted for Joe Hennig, even when he was in that fucking Nexus crap-ass storyline, and then whatever, I just really wanted to see him go places, and it's frustrating that he hasn't. The 5th guy in my WWE would be Daniel Bryan, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that he's smaller than all of the other people that I just mentioned. It's just the fact that D-Bry really, he's been given a chance to shine. He's been doing really well, but I don't think people take him seriously as a main eventer yet. And I think that if he worked as a tweener, that he could have great programs, and he could be that guy like Jericho was. He was never the man. He was never the main dog. But I think that if you put him up against a Miz and a Cesaro and a Kofi Kingston, that he could be that dance partner that really helps people get over, and he could be that asset in terms of technical prowess. So those are my 5 guys. I hope that you will at least see where I'm coming from on this, and I hope that you'll give me your comments and your, responses and whatever. I encourage anybody to do a video or audio response. I really like to, I have a lot of interest in checking them out and just having a discussion with you guys. That's really why I do these, and I enjoy all of the feedback that I get. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.